everyone, welcome back to my channel So Little Time, and my name is Karen. So I hope you're all doing really well, and thank you very much for joining me today. Today is my day on the new sewing challenge, which is called Sew Phoenix September, and that's been organised by the lovely Rachel from the French Seams, Sam from Sew Let Sparkle with Sam, and Catherine from Sewcial Makery. And I'm really excited to be part of this challenge. It's a new concept that they've come up with, which is basically to encourage you to make an old make that you might not have been happy with when you first made it. And this can be any type of item. It doesn't have to be a garment. It can be something like a bag that you made. And there is no time scale as to sort of how long you've been sewing to how you can take part in this challenge, if that makes sense. So basically, if you made something last week and you weren't happy with it and you knew that you could do better, then, you know, remake it, that kind of thing. So I had to have a little think about what I could make, because although my sewing journey has been up and down, you know, like anybody's, I have been sewing quite a long time now. And to go back to sort of the very beginning of when I first started my sewing journey, I didn't really make any garments for myself. And that's really the things that I have found that I've had challenges with along the way, just with regards to finishing, fitting mainly, really. I found that the fitting probably has been the hardest aspect, and probably making alterations as well. As you know, if you make up a garment from start to finish and then you have to go in and alter it later, it is very, very difficult. And that is something that I do find really annoying. If somebody says to me, "Oh, you're a really good seamstress and you enjoy sewing, would you like to alter my dress for me?" No. Yeah, so I had to have a real think back. Now, back at the start of my journey, when I was actually making garments for myself, I did start off, like a lot of people, with sewing Tilly and the Buttons patterns. And I think one of my first makes that I made of hers was actually the Cleo dungaree dress. And I have over time made changes to that. So at the beginning of the time when I did start making that pattern, the fit just wasn't quite right on me. It was very tight to my legs because of the shape, and I am a classic pear shape. And also I found that it was quite short, and also my finishing wasn't great on it, because at the time I didn't have an overlocker, so everything was sort of finished with a standard zigzag stitch on my standard sewing machine. So I decided that, yeah, over time I would make changes to that garment, and I actually altered the pattern to be more A-line. I then made lots of different techniques to the finishes inside. So I used a bias binding to do the facing. I used my overlocker once I'd got one to finish my inside seams. So over time I had improved on that. So that is one thing that I had done. Then I did the Bettine dress by Tilly and the Buttons, and I couldn't get that fit right either, because again, that shape of the skirt is quite, I think they have since changed it, but at the time it was quite big on the hip area and then tighter on the bottom of your legs, a bit of a tulip style skirt. And I found that I just couldn't get the fit right on that. And I also tried to hack it, as I was breastfeeding at the time, to do like a placket down the front where I had some poppers. I just couldn't get that fit right either. So I have since made that dress again, and I have changed the shape to that as well. So I've actually A-lined the skirt. I also do a slight change to the way that I do the elastic casing, where I sew it up rather than down, so it doesn't have too much of a blousing effect over the top. So over time, yeah, I have improved on honing my skills, I suppose, and making changes to garments to fit my body shape. And that has been a really big learning curve over the time. Gosh, there's lots of birds in the background. So one of my favourite patterns, though, is the New Look 446 jumpsuit, and I'll put a stock image of what that looks like on the screen here. I absolutely love that jumpsuit. It just seems to fit my body shape really well. The first time I ever made it, and if I can find a photo of me wearing it, I'll insert it here. I actually made it in a day whilst I was at home, not working at the time, and I wore it out that night. And luckily enough for me, it did fit me straight out of the packet. So I was really lucky in that respect, because I just kind of went for it and I didn't make a toile. And I absolutely loved that jumpsuit. Now, I did find that it was a little bit tight around my bottom area, where it's a little bit bum hungry. And also I didn't have an overlocker at that time either. So I did just finish that with, I think, some pinking shears. I didn't even zigzag it, but it was a type of fabric that didn't really fray too much. So that was okay. And I do still have that garment today in my wardrobe, but I don't wear it now because it's a little bit small for me. Then I did make another one off the back of that in a viscose fabric that I wore so much throughout the last few summers, and I absolutely love that one. And if I've got a picture of that, I'll insert that here as well. It was a really nice lightweight drapey fabric, but it was a pain to work with. It shifted all over the place when I was cutting it out, so I wasn't overly happy with how I had cut it out because it just wasn't very straight. I've since learned that obviously laying it on a cutting mat and using a rotary cutter probably would have been a better idea than using just standard scissors, because the fabric just shifted as even the pattern paper was on it. Although I did find that it wasn't cut very straight, when I sewed it up, it wasn't noticeable, so that was fine. And I did overlock all the inside seams as well, so it was finished a lot better than my first one. But the thing was, because I'd worn that so much and the fabric was quite lightweight and it did fray quite easily, it actually ended up falling apart. And where my thighs sort of touch at the very top when I walk, it rubbed together and it actually shredded. So that jumpsuit is no longer, and I really did miss having that jumpsuit over the last summer. I think it was last year that I didn't have it either, because it had fallen apart, and I was really gutted, and I really did miss wearing that because it was really comfortable to wear and just nice and lightweight, and it was nice to wear something other than a dress. So I thought I would recreate that jumpsuit, because now I have got fabric that is more appropriate for it. I've got my overlocker to finish the inside seams. I know the sizing that will fit me, etc., and things like that. So I have started making it, and I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. Now, I will show you here, it's not quite finished, but I've got it inside out at the moment, so I'll turn it the right way round first of all. But this fabric that I've got, I bought off a destash, which was from Rachel at Stitched Up. I've got James poking his head in here. Can't resist, can you come and say hello? So we're just doing this before the school run, because I don't have much time at the minute. You know, the building work is still ongoing. So this is how my jumpsuit is looking so far. So this fabric that I got from Rachel's destash is a stretchy fabric. So it's got lots of stretch in it, and it's really, really sort of one that doesn't really crease all that much, so I'm not really sure what it is. It might have some polyester content in it, which is fine. I don't mind that. I know that might make it a little bit warmer during the summer months rather than a viscose fabric, but that's fine. I don't mind. I don't sweat that much. So yeah, and I've actually made this as the standard size 12 that I'd previously made. Even though my first version is now a little small for me, that fabric didn't have any stretch in it whatsoever, whereas this one does have a lot of stretch in it, so it actually has a lot of give for me to enable me to wear the same size at my current size. So that's fine, and it looks really, really lovely on as far as I've got with it. I just need to do some little bits of finish into it. And it's come together really lovely, and the fabric was really lovely to work with as well. And yeah, basically it's just an improved version of my viscose version that I no longer have, because I really do miss having that. And I think with this, because I've used like my overlocker on it, I've understitched across the top there to make the facing sit flat, and I feel like my zip insertions have also improved over time. It is actually supposed to be an invisible zip, but with this one it didn't want to go invisible. So although my skills have improved with inserting zips, it wasn't quite invisible, but because it's a white zip, it looks absolutely fine, and I'm not going to go in and mess about with it anymore. And I used to get quite the bubble at the bottom of the zip as well, and I have found that I've been able to over time improve that skill as well. So hopefully this jumpsuit will now last the test of time with wearing it, because it's a much more robust fabric. My finishing of the insides is you know, up to standard of a ready to wear garment, because I've overlocked it. So the only thing I've got left to do is literally to finish the inside of the lining. So the lining of the bodice is exactly the same as the front, but you've obviously got this bit that's flapping around at the bottom. So it's all enclosed around the zip area. You know, it's really nicely finished the way you do that as well, because actually on my first versions, I hand sewed that into place. And over time that did come undone as well, whereas I've learned a new technique where you can actually flip the lining over the zip the opposite way around and then sew it in place with the sewing machine. And that creates, obviously, as you can see here, a much neater finish. So I've overlocked the bottom there as well, and all I need to do is hand sew that to the seam allowance on the inside here, so that it stays in place. And I'll let you into a little secret. When I first made my first ever version of this jumpsuit that I'd made in a day whilst I was off work, I really wanted to wear it out that night to an Amy Winehouse tribute night that I was going to with some friends. And I didn't quite have enough time to finish the inside, so I safety pinned it and I wore it out. And I think I actually did that again with my second version as well. It's just one of those things that, you know, like some people don't like hemming as a last bit of the process. I don't like finishing the insides of a lined bodice for some reason. I just find it a little bit of a chore. So I still have that to do. But overall, if I can just stand back and show it you a little bit, I'm really happy with how it is looking. It's got lovely deep pockets on this particular make. It does have some pleats here in the front as well. And it's the 3/4 length leg version that I have done purely because I was going to do longer ones, but I didn't have enough fabric, so I've had to go with the 3/4 length, which is fine. But I absolutely love this pattern. It's really easy to sew up. It is essentially sewing near enough all straight lines. And as it's a big 4 pattern, because it's a new look pattern, it actually, you know, it's not as hand-holdy as some of your indie pattern companies. So yes, that is my recreation of a make that I really, really like. I do still have like my other one. I've actually got 2 other versions of this. So my first one, I think it was actually my third one, yeah, because my second one was the viscose that I no longer have. And then I also made a play suit version of this as well, which I wear on holiday. They actually do a dress version of this as well in the pattern, which I've not made before, but I'd like to give that a go because I know one of my fellow bloggers, Anita, she has made it before and it looks really beautiful. So that is maybe something that I will try in the future. But yes, so that is my sort of go at Sew Phoenix September. So thank you very much, ladies, for hosting this challenge. And if you are taking part in it, there are lots of prizes up for grabs. You don't have to be on Instagram to take part. There is an email address that you can send your entry into. Otherwise, you can share your makes on Instagram using the hashtag SewPhoenixSeptember25, I believe it is. I'll put it across the bottom of the screen anyway, so it's the right one. You need to tag obviously Rachel, Sam and Catherine, so they can see your makes, and let them know where you are in the world as well, because it does help with them sorting out the prizes, because I know sometimes they have just prizes that are UK based and they have ones that are suitable for abroad and things like that. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what everybody else recreates from their older makes. You don't have to have a before photo either. You can just literally share the make of your finished item and just explain what you've improved on it, I suppose. But yeah, so that is basically what I have done. If you want to share any whips, I think there is a different hashtag, and it is Sew Phoenix September 25 WIP. Right, so I shall love you and leave you there. I will showcase my make in a future video to share my reveal of it, because it's not quite finished, so you can see how the garment looks on me. And yeah, I will be putting my entry up on Instagram very soon. So thank you very much for watching today. Please do give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. That would be lovely. And I will see you all again soon. Take care. Bye.